Welcome to the Deep Dive. You send us your sources, and we extract the crucial knowledge you need to get smart, fast.
That's right.
You, our listener, the learner, you're curious, you're on the go, and you're after those aha moments that, cut through the noise.
Today, we're laser focused on a set of documents you shared with us, the initial chapters of Gary Halbert's legendary Boron Letters.
Our mission today is to pull out the most valuable and, let's face it, sometimes counterintuitive lessons on health, business, and life packed into these early letters. Okay, let's dive straight in.
Right out of the gate, the very first letter delivers a punch. Your physical well-being isn't just a good idea, it's the bedrock, the absolute foundation of everything else.
Yeah, foundational. And his non-negotiable prescription, daily road work.
Right, road work. That's a solid hour of walking, jogging, or running 6 days a week, Sundays off.
Important detail, that Sunday off.
And crucially, he argues the best time is first thing in the morning.
Talk about setting the stage for a productive day. Get it done first.
What's fascinating is how he reframes exercise. It's not presented as a chore. It's framed as a positive addiction.
Positive addiction? How does he mean?
Well, after about 40 minutes, he says, your body releases beta endorphins and norepinephrine. Think of it as a natural, beneficial high that boosts mood and alertness.
Ah, okay. A good kind of high.
Exactly. And here's where it gets really interesting. He's not just talking about a fleeting good feeling.
No.
He's emphasizing that making this a daily habit has immediate benefits and pays massive dividends for your long-term health and success. He even points to Theodore Kostrubla's The Joy of Running, if you want to dig deeper into that specific aspect.
Right, for the extra reading.
Building on this theme of proactive habits, the second letter introduces a really powerful framework for managing your time and priorities. The 4-square lesson on life.
Ah, Covey's quadrants. From the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, right?
That's the one. For anyone not familiar, this divides activities into 4 boxes. Urgent, important, that's quadrant 1, your firefighting, the crises. Quadrant 2, not urgent, important, your strategic planning, prevention.
The important stuff that gets pushed aside.
Quadrant 3, urgent, not important, often other people's interruptions.
The distractions.
And quadrant 4, not urgent, not important, your genuine time wasters.
Okay, so what's Halbert's key takeaway here for you, the learner?
Simply this. Winners and successful people intentionally spend the bulk of their time in quadrant 2. Those activities that are important but not screamingly urgent.
Give us some examples.
Think about working out like we just discussed, or maybe getting a regular health checkup like a prostate exam he mentions. Important but easy to put off.
Makes total sense. It's about investing time in the things that truly matter before they blow up into urgent Q1 crises. It's preventative action at its finest.
Precisely, and he cleverly links that early morning road work directly to Q2.
Ah, okay, I see the connection.
It's a dedicated, often uninterrupted block of time to invest in your health, something undeniably important that, rarely screams for immediate attention like a ringing phone might.
And he takes this into the business world too, right? Applying the same logic.
Absolutely. Carving out that quiet time to work on crucial but not yet deadline-driven tasks. Things like crafting compelling marketing copy or really honing your core message. Q2 business activities.
Yeah, the deep work.
He observes that a high percentage of top performers are early birds or night owls, specifically to snatch those precious distraction-free hours.
That really prompts a crucial question for you listening. Where could you better carve out time for those important, non-urgent activities that will truly move the needle in your life or work?
A good challenge. Now, shifting gears slightly to another somewhat unconventional health habit Halbert champions, the weekly one-day fast.
Okay, this might raise an eyebrow or two out there. Fasting.
Yeah, but what's fascinating is his reasoning. He argues it helps to reset your body's systems and, maybe even more importantly, it builds serious self-discipline.
Self-discipline, interesting angle. Did he do it himself?
He personally fasted every Saturday. That was his routine.
And he's got some very practical advice on making this work, doesn't he?
He does, like keeping to yourself. He found that telling others often led to well-meaning but unhelpful opinions or concerns.
Right. Avoid the unsolicited advice.
Also, really taking it easy both physically and mentally on those fasting days. No heavy workouts.
So rest is key.
Exactly. He emphasizes rest and light mental activities, maybe like reading. He sees road work as structuring your day and the fast as structuring your entire week.
Ordering the day, ordering the week. I like that.
And for those intrigued, he recommends another book, Paul Bragg's The Miracle of Fasting.
Okay, let's move on to diet. Halbert definitely has some strong and potentially surprising views here, starting by taking aim at a long-held belief.
He flat out dismisses the idea that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, just throws it out.
Really? So what does he suggest instead?
His suggestion, just a couple of pieces of fruit to tide you over until lunch, that's it.
Just fruit. Wow. And he's very specific about the fruit, isn't he?
Very. 3 pieces a day, except obviously on fast days, specifically bananas, apples, or oranges. He highlights their value for potassium, vitamins, and pectin.
And he has strong feelings about fruit in general.
He even calls fruit the prize food of man, arguing that we Americans don't eat nearly enough of it. He sees it as nature's broom, helping with digestion.
Nature's broom, okay.
Then he pivots to other dietary staples, like a big daily bowl of bran-type cereal. He specifically mentions grape nuts.
Grape nuts, okay.
Classic. But he also suggests you might find even better, less processed options at your local health food store.
And he's a huge proponent of vegetables, too, I remember.
Huge. With a super practical tip. Chop them up the night before. That way you have healthy snacks readily available throughout the day.
Smart. Takes away the friction.
And this connects to another point. Forget that old don't snack between meals rule, according to Halbert.
So snacking is okay?
What's insightful here is his recommendation of eating maybe 6 smaller meals or simply nibbling when you're genuinely hungry. The goal is to keep your blood sugar and energy levels stable.
Interesting. No big energy crashes.
Right. And he also puts the onus squarely on you, the listener, to take charge of your diet. You have to buy and prepare your own vegetables. Take responsibility.
Personal responsibility is a big theme. What else on diet?
He keeps going. Recommends a large glass of non-fat milk daily for calcium and protein, at least 1 serving of lean meat or poultry, and suggests being mindful of egg consumption, maybe 2 or 3 a week, due to cholesterol concerns back then.
Okay, covering all the bases.
And for an extra nutritional boost, he suggests adding bran flakes to your cereal and incorporating protein powder daily, especially if you're young and growing. He calls it protein insurance.
Protein insurance, I like that. Any more book recommendations here?
Yep, another one. Are You Confused? By
Yes.
Paulo Arola.
This early and strong emphasis on health really jumps out, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Especially considering these letters also delve deep into business and marketing later.
It really underscores his fundamental belief that a robust personal foundation fuels success in every area of life. It's not separate.
But it's not just about physical well-being, right? He also tackles the crucial element of mental toughness.
Absolutely. And a particular story he tells really brings this to life.
Which one's that?
The anecdote about the tomcat crackers relentlessly tormenting the ground squirrel, he uses it as a potent metaphor for navigating difficult people, especially those who hold power over you.
So the cat and squirrel story is about dealing with bosses
Yeah.
or authority figures.
Essentially, yes.
Mhm.
It's about developing a kind of mental armor for survival, particularly when you're in a less powerful position. He directly connects this to his own frustrating initial interactions with the authorities at the facility where he was writing these letters.
The context makes sense.
And a key insight emerges here. Don't waste your energy trying to argue people out of their deeply held beliefs. It's usually futile.
So what do you do?
Instead, silently focus on your own actions and let your results be your argument. Prove them wrong through action, not words.
That's powerful. He also stresses the absolute necessity of self-reliance, doesn't he?
Totally. Not depending on others, because that immediately eliminates excuses for failure. If it's all on you, you can't blame anyone else.
And this ties directly into his observation about why people might project negativity onto your ambitious plan.
Exactly. What's really insightful is his explanation that this negativity isn't usually malicious, not consciously anyway.
So why does it happen?
It often comes from their own insecurities and a subconscious need to feel better about their own circumstances, especially when it comes to aspirations of wealth or big changes.
That makes a lot of sense. It can feel like crabs in a bucket sometime.
Which raises a vital question for you listening. Who are the people you surround yourself with? Are they lifting you up, genuinely supporting you, or are they subtly holding you back with negativity or doubt?
He strongly advises seeking out supportive, like-minded, and successful individuals. He highlights the unfortunate tendency of even close friends and family sometimes to fixate on potential downsides rather than celebrating your ambition.
And his powerful takeaway, you just have to remember, never let the bastards get you down. Keep focused.
Simple, but hard to do sometimes.
Another crucial element woven through these early letters is Halbert's deliberate and strategic use of repetition. It's not accidental, it's a conscious teaching method,
He wants to drill these ideas in.
designed to reinforce key ideas. He makes a fascinating comparison to The Godfather, actually,
Of the movie. How so?
where the Don repeatedly goes over every detail of a plan. Why? To prevent carelessness and ensure complete understanding from everyone involved. Repetition for clarity and precision.
Oh, okay. And this directly relates to his practical advice for you, the listener.
Right. Write down your goals and review them daily. The underlying principle is constant, unwavering reinforcement of what truly matters to you. Keep it front and center.
Constant reinforcement. Okay. Then he moves on to the importance of your physical presence.
Yes, and actively avoiding any appearance of weakness. This goes beyond mere physical fitness. It's about the signals you're broadcasting to the world.
What kind of signals?
He argues that a lean, strong physique, not necessarily for show, like bodybuilding, but for genuine functional strength, communicates self-respect and capability.
And the opposite.
Conversely, a soft, weak, or sloppy appearance can, unfortunately, attract those who might seek to exploit vulnerability. It signals a lack of self-respect, potentially.
That quote really lands. Defensive behavior invites aggressive action.
It's stark, isn't it? He shares a story about a nervous prisoner who inadvertently irritates even a normally passive individual just by projecting fear. It illustrates how weakness can be perceived and, sadly, acted upon.
So the message is rely on yourself.
His message is clear. Your primary reliance should be on your own strength and resilience, not counting on the compassion of others.
But he's not saying be a bully, right?
No. He clarifies that being tough isn't about being aggressive or macho. It's about possessing a fundamental level of physical presence that acts as a natural deterrent. Predators look for easy targets.
Like looking like you can handle yourself even if you never have to.
Exactly. He even suggests that even when you're dressed formally in a suit, your underlying toughness often subtly shines through in your demeanor, how you move, how you react.
Interesting. He shares a quote too, doesn't he?
Yes, a powerful quote from John D. Rockefeller about the profound satisfaction of self-reliance, knowing you can depend on yourself.
And the ultimate goal.
To be a fight avoider, as he puts it.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, maybe counterintuitively, having noticeable strength like big arms, he mentions, can actually be a key part of that strategy. It deters trouble before it starts.
Okay, so health, mindset, presence. Now, shifting our focus, the letters begin to delve into the world of making money. Where does he start?
He starts with the foundational ingredient, genuine enthusiasm.
Enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Not strategy or tactics first.
Nope. He advises getting involved in ventures that truly excite you because significant financial success often organically grows out of that passion. It fuels the hard work.
That makes sense. And he applies this to hiring too.
Yeah, he emphasizes looking for that spark of enthusiasm when you're hiring someone, not just ticking off a list of qualifications on a resume. And he throws in a nice nod to you, our listener, acknowledging the positive attitude you bring to your pursuit of knowledge.
Ah, that's good to hear.
But beyond that initial enthusiasm, he stresses the absolute non-negotiable necessity of becoming a dedicated student of markets.
A student of markets. What does that mean exactly?
Your primary focus must be on understanding what people actually want to buy, not what you think they should buy or what they say they want.
This is a critical distinction, isn't it? Actions versus words.
Huge.
Yeah.
He emphasizes the importance of observing what people do with their wallets, not just what they say they desire in a survey or focus group.
He has an example for this, right? The beer one.
Yeah, he shares a classic and rather amusing anecdote about a beer company's survey. People overwhelmingly claim to prefer premium beer.
Sounding sophisticated.
Right, but the actual sales figures painted a very different picture, totally dominated by regular, cheaper beer. What they did was different from what they said.
Actions speak louder. Any other examples?
The example of the National Enquirer is equally telling. A publication widely read, massive circulation, but often publicly looked down upon. Again, that disconnect between stated preferences and actual consumption.
Right. People buy it, but might not admit it.
He contrasts this with the Bible, frequently cited as a favorite book, maybe the most important book, but likely not read regularly cover to cover by a significant portion of those who claim it as such.
Interesting comparison. So the core insight here is...
Be a student of reality.
Yeah.
Put your faith in the hard data, the actual purchase numbers. Believe what people do. This leads him to recommend a crucial resource for anyone looking to understand markets.
Okay, what is it?
The SRDS Direct Mail List book. standard rate and data service. It's basically a directory of mailing lists.
And why is that so valuable?
He specifically directs your attention to the consumer lists section. It tells you who is buying what via direct mail. He provides concrete examples from the investors category.
Like what?
Lists of diamond and ruby buyers or diamond buyers and inquirers. And crucially, the SRDS tells you the average purchase price and the number of individuals on these lists.
Ah, so you see proven buyers and how much they spend.
Exactly. This immediately gives you a tangible sense of the potential market size based on proven buying behavior. These people have already bought gems through the mail.
He draws a sharp contrast between this targeted approach and mailing to broad demographics, right?
Yes, a huge difference between mailing to, say, car owners or magazine subscribers versus mailing to specific lists of people who have already demonstrated they are willing to spend money on certain types of products or services, like diamonds by mail. The power lies in reaching proven buyers.
And he suggests looking at magazines, too.
Right. Look closely at magazines that feature a lot of mail order advertising. That's a clue to what's consistently being sold successfully. Pay attention to ads that run month after month and the size of the mailing list being offered in those ads. Those are signals.
Signals of a hungry market.
Okay.
Now, shifting back slightly to the theme of personal resilience, Halbert tackles the reality of working even when you're feeling tired.
Yes, but he includes a vital caveat. You absolutely must listen to your body's signals. Don't push yourself into genuine illness or injury.
So there's a balance.
He makes a key distinction between simply feeling a bit crummy, maybe unmotivated, and experiencing genuine physical decline or pain. He suggests pushing through the former, the crummy feeling.
And he has a quote about this.
That quote he shares really hits home. Most of the world's work is done by people who didn't feel much like getting out of bed.
Huh. That's probably true.
It's a reminder that often progress happens even when we lack that initial burst of motivation. You just got to get moving sometimes.
Did he have his own way of pushing through?
He even shares his own personal strategy for those days. A combination of coffee and V8 juice. That was his go-to to keep going.
Coffee and V8. Interesting combo.
It just highlights the importance of finding your own, hopefully healthy ways to overcome temporary dips in energy and maintain momentum towards your goals.
Okay. He revisits the critical idea of trusting actions over mere words with another compelling real-world example.
Right. This time involving a USC class. They claim to prefer attending plays over going to movies.
Again, sounding cultured.
Exactly. But the actual attendance figures for campus events told a completely different story. Far more students went to the movies.
Actions versus words again.
The underlying message is just crystal clear. You can often discern the truth by observing how people choose to spend their money and their time, not just by what they articulate verbally.
So be skeptical of surveys.
Be naturally skeptical of surveys and questionnaires. Instead, place your trust in concrete, measurable data, the numbers. As the saying goes, if it looks like a duck, swims like a duck, and quacks like a duck.
It's probably a duck.
Believe the observable evidence.
This leads nicely into a practical and really eye-opening look at basic direct mail math.
Yeah, he walks through a simplified example, breaking down all the essential costs involved. Things like the cost of the product itself, the fulfillment costs, postage.
The hard costs.
And then factoring in the expected response rate, how many people actually buy, to calculate the potential profit or loss from mailing 1,000 pieces.
Does he use specific numbers?
He uses hypothetical numbers for, say, a $19.95 fab product and assumes a 5% response rate, just to clearly demonstrate the potential for generating a profit. Even a small response rate can be profitable if the numbers work.
And this lays the groundwork for
the exciting idea of developing your very own mail order campaign, it makes it seem achievable.
He circles back to the crucial importance of diligently studying that SRDS list book and those publications packed with mail order ads.
Constantly researching. And in a quick personal aside, he mentions his own increasing fitness again, noting that he's now jogging that challenging hill near the prison multiple times, not just once. You see his own progress.
Little updates on his own journey.
He then introduces the concept of compiled lists within the SRDS book. These aren't lists of people who bought something specific, but rather lists that group individuals or businesses based on shared characteristics, like profession.
Okay, like all the dentists or all the plumbers.
Exactly. This sparks a brainstorming session around the idea of creating a specialized report tailored to a specific profession. He uses chiropractors as an example, offering them a compelling, great new way to make a great deal of extra money.
Something highly relevant to them.
Right. He even crafts a sample headline and an opening for such a letter, immediately illustrating the power of direct, benefit-driven messaging aimed squarely at a specific audience.
And the potential payoff.
Based on a conservative response rate and the sheer number of, say, chiropractors out there, the potential profit becomes quite apparent, even with a low-priced report.
And this is where the concept of a winning formula starts to take shape.
Exactly. You can take this same core report idea, how professionals like you can make extra money, and customize it for a multitude of different professions. Plumbers, architects, dentists, you name it.
Adapt the core message.
This really underscores the immense power of customization and personalization in the realm of direct mail. Tailoring the message works.
He provides further compelling examples of this, doesn't he?
Yeah, how personalized salutations, dear Dr. Smith, and offers specifically tailored to distinct groups like 16-year-old kids or people interested in LA real estate yield significantly better results than generic messages.
Makes sense. People pay attention if it feels like it's for them.
Even something as simple as tweaking the headline to be more specific to the audience can have a dramatic impact on response rates.
And one idea leads to another.
What's fascinating to observe is how one solid idea naturally breeds others. For instance, the concept of creating a general real estate investment report could then evolve into offering customized real estate investment advice tailored to the specific financial situation and needs of different professions. Doctors might need different advice than plumbers.
A cascade of creative possibilities, building on the core idea.
Precisely.
Now, for anyone listening who's serious about mastering the art and science of advertising and direct mail, Halbert shares a curated list of essential reading.
Yes, and these aren't just casual suggestions. They're presented as fundamental texts you must study to understand the principles.
What's on the list?
He strongly recommends acquiring and thoroughly reading Claude Hopkins' Scientific Advertising, not just once.
How many times?
3 times, he says, taking detailed notes after your first pass. Really internalize it. Similarly, he advises reading Robert Collier's The Robert Collier Letter Book at least twice, again with diligent note-taking after the first read.
Okay, Hopkins and Collier. Anything else?
He also suggests getting your hands on his own 2001 Headlines book and Ben Suarez's Superbiz, specifically to dissect and learn from successful headlines. Headlines are critical.
And he advocates creating a swipe file.
Absolutely. A crucial practice. It's basically a carefully curated collection of effective ads and direct mail pieces that have caught your eye. Things you think worked.
And you don't just collect them.
No, you make detailed notes on why you think they work. What principles are they using? What makes them persuasive? It's about actively learning from proven winners in the field.
Deconstructing success. Okay. He then lays out a clear, actionable, step-by-step process for creating your own direct mail promotion from the ground up.
Yes, very practical steps. Step 1 is consistently and actively searching through that SRDS book to identify promising lists of potential customers. Who could you sell to?
Find your market first. Step 2.
Involves conducting thorough market research on your chosen audience. So if you've selected a list of, say, real estate investors, you need to immerse yourself in their world. By reading several of the key hot books on that subject, real estate investing in this case, and taking comprehensive notes, understand their problems, desires, language.
Got it. Step 3.
Builds on this by gathering as many relevant direct mail pieces and space advertisements related to your topic as you can find. Collect what your competitors are doing or what's being sold to this market.
And analyze them.
Yes. The key here is to analyze these materials critically and take detailed notes on their strategies, their offers, their techniques, what's working for others.
Okay, so list, research the market, analyze existing ads. Step 4.
Step 4 is where you begin to synthesize all of this information. You review your notes from those foundational copywriting books, Hopkins and Collier, along with the headlines you've been studying from Halbert and Suarez, and your swipe file. A central, compelling selling idea should begin to crystallize from all this input.
The big idea for your promotion.
Right. This involves outlining the most promising ideas you've gathered, combining them with your own unique insights, arranging them in a logical flow, and then starting to write your report or sales letter.
And he specifies a report, not a book.
Yeah, keep in mind, it shouldn't be an overly lengthy book, but rather a focused guide, maybe around 100 pages, he suggests, that delivers real value.
He emphasizes that by following this methodical process, you can create something of significant value for your target audience.
Exactly. a concise and informative guide that solves a specific problem or offers a compelling opportunity. He even shares an example of a report title that emerged directly from this kind of focused brainstorming and research: The Amazing LA Roadmap to Real Estate Riches.
Catchy title. Okay, the conversation then turns to a seemingly minor detail that apparently has an outsized impact in direct mail.
Yes, the design and presentation of the outside envelope itself.
The envelope. Really?
Halbert stresses this is your crucial first impression. It often determines whether your message even gets seen, let alone read.
How does that work?
He introduces the fundamental concept of sorting mail into the A pile, that's perceived personal mail, and the B pile, what looks like commercial mail or junk mail.
A pile good, B pile bad.
Pretty much. His core argument is that mail that looks personal and intriguing, the A pile, is almost always open. People are curious. But mail that immediately screams advertisement, the B pile, faces a very high likelihood of ending up in the trash unopened.
Makes sense. So
Yeah.
your primary objective is,
Make your envelope appear personal enough to land in that coveted A pile. Get it open.
and he provides very specific, actionable advice on exactly how to achieve this, doesn't he?
Yes, very tactical. This includes using a corner card, the return address area that features only an address, no company name, using a genuine, live, first-class stamp, not metered bulk postage.
A real stamp matters.
He insists it does, and addressing the envelope with a handwritten or typed address, absolutely avoiding pre-printed labels if possible. The goal is to create intrigue. Make the recipient think, who is this from? Maybe it's from someone they know.
And he contrasts this sharply with the typical B-pile envelope.
Right. That immediately signals a commercial message through its professional design, making a window, bulk postage indicators, often prominent company logos. It screams, sales pitch inside, reducing the chances of it being opened.
It seems like such a basic point.
But Halbert insists it's a critical detail that's frequently overlooked, even by experienced advertising agencies and supposed direct mail experts. Get the envelope wrong, and nothing else matters.
Okay, so assuming you've successfully crafted an A-pile envelope that gets opened, what's the next significant hurdle?
Getting the potential customer to actually start reading your sales letter. You got it open, now you need to hook them immediately.
And this requires?
A compelling attention grabber right from the very beginning, something they can't ignore.
He provides that wonderfully unconventional example, right? The dirt.
Yes. Physically attaching a small plastic baggie filled with actual dirt to the top of the letter. The reasoning. It immediately sparks curiosity. What in the world is in this baggie? And instantly commands the reader's attention. It's unexpected.
Definitely attention grabbing.
He also points out the often overlooked importance of including the specific day, date, and time above the salutation of your letter. He hints that this personal touch helps to build a connection, makes it feel immediate.
Like it was written just now for them.
Exactly. And in another brief personal aside, he shares a new personal best time for running that challenging hill again. Still improving.
Still tracking his progress. He mentions this discussion essentially covers his famous A-pile, B-pile speech.
Yes, emphasizing its foundational importance. Get this right first. He also touches upon more extreme strategies for getting through mail screeners when dealing with high-priced offers.
Like for CEOs or busy people.
Right. For more expensive items, he mentions tactics like using first-class postage indicated in red ink, back when that was less common for direct mail, made it stand out, or even resorting to using FedEx or private couriers in truly high-stakes situations, whatever it takes to get past the gatekeeper.
He recalls other grabbers he's used too.
Oh yeah, a variety of unconventional things. Small coins like pennies or foreign currency, even old racetrack betting slips attached to the letter, anything to create that initial intrigue. He even mentions a stash of inherited Iraqi money he considered using.
Wow, always thinking creatively.
It's clear he's constantly thinking about innovative ways to cut through the clutter and capture attention.
And as you read through these early Boron letters, you can almost sense a positive transformation happening with Halbert himself, can't you?
You really can. There's a growing feeling of improved fitness, sharper focus, and increasing confidence in his writing. It's as if the very principles he's advocating, the roadwork, the discipline, are actively contributing to his own well-being and mindset while in prison.
He's living his advice. Okay, so when you get to the actual body of the sales letter, what does he emphasize?
Personalization
Yeah.
and creating a sense of immediacy right from the start. We touched on the date time thing.
Right.
Including the specific day of the week, the exact time of day, the full date, and the year above the salutation makes the letter feel much more personal. It establishes a stronger, almost intimate connection between the writer and the reader.
It creates this feeling of urgency, almost like receiving a telegram back in the day.
Exactly, which lends the communication a greater sense of importance. He also advises describing your current surroundings and what you're doing as you write the letter.
Why do that?
To further enhance this feeling of immediacy and personal connection, he uses his own example of writing from his prison dorm room right after completing his morning run. It makes it real.
Grounding it in a specific moment.
And addressing the reader directly by their name, Dear Bond, as he writes to his son, immediately focuses their attention in a way that a generic dear friend simply cannot. It signals, this letter is specifically for you.
Makes sense. And he highlights the often underestimated power of the PS section, too.
Absolutely. The postscript at the end, he points out that it's frequently one of the first things people scan when they get a letter.
Really? People read the end first.
Often, yes. Or their eyes are drawn there. So it's prime piece of real estate to reinforce your main point or include a compelling final call to action. Don't waste the PS.
Good tip. Okay, once you've successfully grabbed their attention and begun to build that personal connection, what's next?
The next crucial step is to make your letter visually appealing and incredibly easy to read. Halbert emphasizes that your prospective customer is likely busy, maybe distracted. Anything that creates friction, makes it hard to read, will cause them to stop.
So make it look inviting. How?
His recommendations here are straightforward but incredibly effective. Use short, punchy words. Construct concise sentences. Break your text into short, manageable paragraphs.
Keep it scannable.
Use generous, wide margins. Incorporate plenty of white space on the page, don't crowd it, and double space between your paragraphs. The goal is to create a letter that is visually inviting, easy on the eyes, a genuine eye treat, as he might say.
An eye treat.
Okay.
Now he reveals a truly powerful secret for dramatically increasing readership.
Yes, this is a big one, often by as much as 500%, he claims. Making your ads and direct mail pieces have a distinct editorial look.
Editorial look, like a newspaper article.
Kind of. This is a fascinating and somewhat counterintuitive strategy. He explains that people are generally far more likely to read editorial content articles, news stories, reviews, than they are to engage with blatant advertising. We trust articles more than ads.
So the key is disguise.
Not exactly disguise, but leverage that preference. Make your ads and direct mail resemble interesting, engaging pieces of editorial material, not just typical promotional messages.
Can you give an analogy?
He uses the analogy of a respected reporter writing an enthusiastic review of a new book and seamlessly integrating the ordering information within the review itself. It feels like valuable content, not just a sales pitch.
So you study actual articles for layout ideas.
He even suggests actively studying the layouts of successful editorial publications for inspiration on how to design your ads. Mimic the look and feel.
And this principle directly applies to crafting effective direct mail letters.
Absolutely. Your letter should read like a personal and genuinely enthusiastic recommendation from a trusted friend or an expert columnist, perhaps even including a snapshot or a brief description of the product or service being offered woven into the body of the editorial content.
Does he have proof this works?
He shares a compelling true story about the phenomenal success of a simple personal letter offering a family name research report. It looked very plain, very personal.
And the results.
It generated over $7 million in sales. He sharply contrasts this with the underwhelming performance of a much more professional-looking, slick, four-color catalog for the same products.
Which probably costs a lot more to produce.
Right. And the slightly better, but still weak, results from a 3-item glossy brochure. Neither came close to the simple letter.
So the takeaway is?
Often, a personal, genuine, and almost understated approach will significantly outperform slick, overly polished, and obviously promotional materials. The initial look and feel of your ad or direct mail piece are absolutely critical.
First impressions matter. Hugely.
He explains that people frequently form an immediate gut reaction, a positive or negative first impression, the second they glance at something. And then their subconscious mind actively seeks out evidence to support that initial judgment. Confirmation bias.
He uses an analogy for this too.
Yes, the analogy of a skilled poker player subtly observing the slight dilation of competitors' pupils as an indicator of a positive reaction to their hand. It's an instant subconscious signal.
So our brains decide faster than we think.
His theory is that the majority of our liking or disliking decisions are made in a fraction of a second. The subsequent decision-making process is often just our brain rationalizing that initial instinctive feeling. Therefore, your ad or direct mail piece absolutely must create an immediate positive lift. It has to make the prospect instinctively want to believe the promises you're making right from that first glance.
Okay, make it look good, feel right. What about the words themselves? How do you make them believable?
To significantly enhance the believability of your copywriting, Halbert emphasizes the strategic use of specific, precise details.
Examples.
For example, instead of making a vague claim like most car owners agree, use a more impactful and credible statistic like 77.6% of all car owners surveyed agree. The specific number sounds researched and real.
Use real numbers. What else?
He also highlights the effective technique of using parentheses to insert brief asides. These make your writing feel more personal, conversational, and real, even if the detail itself seems somewhat insignificant, like it's the blue one.
Little touches of personality.
The purpose of these seemingly small details is to subtly draw the reader deeper into your message and create a stronger sense of connection and authenticity without making them consciously aware of your writing style itself. It builds trust.
Right, make it feel genuine.
Yeah.
Now, connecting the dots between your physical and mental well-being and your ultimate success in business, Halbert shares a personal anecdote.
Yes, about a heated exchange with a roommate in prison and his conscious decision not to escalate the situation. He chose to walk away.
Why was that significant?
He deliberately prioritized his long-term objectives, getting out, rebuilding his life and business over the short-term gratification of winning an argument or satisfying his ego. It illustrates the critical importance of staying laser-focused on your overarching goals. Don't get sidetracked by petty stuff.
Keep your eye on the prize.
He also reinforces the need to establish and maintain a consistent, stabilizing routine, just like his daily road work. Routine builds resilience.
And he shares that powerful, action-oriented philosophy.
Yes, you don't have to get it right, you just have to get it moving.
Love that. Just start.
It speaks directly to the power of taking action and building momentum, even if your initial attempts aren't perfect. Progress over perfection.
Okay. Now, shifting our focus to specific sales tactics with indirect mail, Halbert introduces a clever strategy using the reply envelope itself.
Right. The technique of including a stamped reply envelope, SRE, in your mailings. Not just a business reply envelope, but one with a real stamp already on it.
And the purpose is?
As a way to subtly induce a sense of obligation or even guilt, and therefore increase your response rates.
Guilt. How does that work?
The psychological effect of receiving a pre-addressed envelope that already has a live stamp on it can create a feeling that you should at least respond in some way. Someone spent money on that stamp for you.
So you feel obligated to use it.
Maybe. He even provides an example of guilt-inducing copy you could include. Something like, if the recipient isn't interested, they should use the enclosed stamped envelope to let the sender know so the valuable offer can be extended to someone else on the waiting list. Creates scarcity and obligation.
Ah, clever. Reverse psychology, maybe.
He explains the subtle reverse psychology that might be at play. A person who initially intended to just discard the offer might think, well, I have the pen here, the envelope's stamped. And they might end up filling out the form and placing an order just because it feels slightly easier or more polite than throwing away the stamp.
Interesting. He then compares different types of reply envelopes.
Yes, the pros and cons. Business reply envelopes, BREs, are certainly cost-effective because you only pay postage for the envelopes that are actually returned. That's the big advantage.
But the downsides?
They can sometimes slow down the delivery of responses through the postal system, and they clearly signal a commercial message, which makes them less effective for creating that sense of personal obligation or guilt. It looks like business mail.
Okay, so SRE versus BRE. What about envelopes where the customer adds the stamp?
Those are place stamp here, PSH, envelopes. They're the most economical option up front because the customer is the one who pays for the postage.
Sounds good for the sender.
But there's a trade-off. It adds friction for the customer they have to find a stamp. This might lose you some orders from people who can't be bothered. However, they can sometimes feel a bit more personal than a BRE, which might encourage a slightly different type of response.
So it depends on the offer and audience.
Right. He suggests that it's always worth testing PSH envelopes to see how your specific audience reacts. Test everything.
Okay. Circling back to the concept of attention grabbers, like that baggie of dirt, Halbert emphasizes a crucial point about them.
Yes. Your attention-getting device, your gimmick, must be relevant to the message you're conveying. Gimmicks, just for the sake of being gimmicky, can often backfire or feel manipulative.
Which can't be totally random.
Exactly. He explains that the dirt in the baggie isn't just a random object. It will be directly connected to the offer of Hawaiian real estate within the letter, own a piece of paradise,
Yeah.
etc.
So it creates a logical and memorable link.
Right, making the attention grabber meaningful and setting the stage for the rest of the sales message. The letter will then go on to paint a vivid and enticing picture of the Hawaiian beach experience for the reader, building on that initial dirt sample.
Got it. He then shares a clever and often overlooked strategy for controlling how your direct mail piece is read.
Yes, intentionally hiding the order card and any accompanying brochures so the reader doesn't see them immediately upon opening the envelope.
Why hide the order form? Isn't that the goal?
The core idea here is to prevent the reader from immediately jumping to the price and the order form before they've had a chance to fully absorb your persuasive sales message. You need to build value first.
Because many people just look for the price.
Right. Many people, upon opening a direct mail piece, instinctively look for the Buy Now button or the coupon. By concealing it initially, perhaps by folding the letter around it, you encourage them to read your entire letter first to understand the offer fully.
How do you physically do that?
He describes a specific method of folding a standard 8/12 by 11 sheet of paper, maybe cut lengthwise, then folded in thirds, and perhaps writing, "Note, open this after reading the letter" on the outside fold, to effectively conceal these materials until the letter has presumably been read.
Controlling the reading experience.
Yeah.
Smart. Now, for anyone serious about creating successful promotions, Halbert strongly advises assembling something specific.
Yes, a comprehensive resource file that contains absolutely everything related to the specific promotion you're currently working on. Gather it all in one place.
What should be in this file?
It should include things like your list cards, details about the mailing list you're considering, samples of your product or service, direct mail pieces and space ads from your competitors, any relevant books and reports you've gathered during research,
You going?
examples of exceptionally good ads, even if they're in completely different industries, your swipe file, your headline books, and really anything else that you think might spark new ideas or provide valuable insights for this specific project.
Get everything in front of you. And his unique method for taking notes on all this material.
Yes, what he calls creating nugget notes.
Nugget notes.
These are simply short, fragmented pieces of information. Could be single words, seemingly meaningless phrases that pop into your head, sensible observations, even nonsensical thoughts. The key is just to jot down absolutely anything that occurs to you as you review your resource file. Don't filter or judge at this stage. Just capture sparks.
Free association almost.
Pretty much. But he emphasizes that when you're taking these nugget notes, you should always make sure to specifically note the detailed description of your product or service pages, word count, photos, auto info, and most importantly,
The benefits.
the specific benefits that your product or service offers to the customer. How will it make them wealthier? How will it improve their life? What problem does it solve? Focus on the customer's outcome.
Okay, so collect nugget notes, focusing on description and benefits. What's the next step?
Once you have a good collection of these nugget notes, the next crucial step is to reread them carefully and implement a star-based prioritization system.
How does that work?
Use a single star to mark ideas that are pretty good, 2 stars for ideas that are even stronger, and 3 or even 4 stars plus for the absolute best, most promising concepts that really jump out at you as having potential.
Filter and rank the ideas. Then what?
Following this intensive brainstorming and note-taking phase, he stresses the importance of what he calls the incubation period.
Incubation, like letting it sit.
Exactly. This simply means consciously stepping away from the project after you've started your notes. Put it aside. Let those ideas settle and develop in the back of your mind for a day or two. Don't force it.
And why is this important?
He explains that during this incubation period, it's surprisingly common for an outstanding central sales idea or a major breakthrough concept, like that memorable baggie of dirt, to suddenly pop into your head, seemingly out of nowhere. Your subconscious works on it.
Trust the process. Okay, when it's finally time to sit down and write your sales letter, Halbert strongly advocates following a specific formula.
Yes, a well-established and proven copywriting formula. AADA stands for attention, interest, desire, and action.
Attention, interest, desire, action.
Okay. Your letter should systematically guide the reader through each of these stages. The very first and arguably most critical step is grabbing their attention right away. We talked about grabbers like coins, dollar bills, the dirt.
Right, the hook.
He reiterates the crucial point that your attention grabber, no matter how creative, absolutely must be relevant to the overall message of your offer. Don't just shock them randomly.
Okay, attention first, then interest.
Yes. Once you have their attention, you need to build their interest by providing them with intriguing and valuable facts directly related to what you're offering. Using the Maui real estate example, this might involve sharing surprising statistics about property value increases or unique lifestyle benefits there.
Make them want to know more. Next is desire.
Correct. You need to cultivate desire by vividly painting a picture in the reader's mind of the positive outcomes and pleasures they will experience by taking you up on your offer. Focus on the emotional benefits, the end result. How will their life improve?
Make them feel it. And finally, action.
Finally, you must clearly and directly compel them to take action. Explicitly tell them exactly what they need to do to order. Make the process as easy and frictionless as possible, and urge them to act now.
Create urgency.
Yes, by highlighting the benefits of immediate action. For example, limited time bonus, price increase coming soon, and perhaps even hinting at the negative consequences or missed opportunities of delaying.
He advises studying his own letters for this.
He specifically advises carefully studying the closing sections of his own successful sales letters to learn effective techniques for prompting that immediate action. See how he did it?
Okay, idea. Now, a deceptively simple, yet incredibly effective copywriting trick Halbert shares.
Yes, the practice of reading your sales copy out loud. Just read it to yourself.
Why is that so effective?
It immediately helps you to identify any awkward phrasing, clunky sentences, jargon that doesn't sound right, or sections that simply don't flow smoothly when spoken. Your ear catches things your eye might miss.
Find the rough spots.
He advises rewriting any rough spots you identify and then repeating the process of reading aloud until your copy sounds completely natural, conversational, and persuasive. Does it sound like a real person talking?
He emphasizes that advertising writing needs to be exceptionally smooth.
Yes, above all else. Engaging and easy to follow. He also reiterates his earlier advice to read successful ads and direct mail pieces from others aloud as well.
Why read other people's stuff aloud?
Because this helps you to internally absorb the rhythm, the cadence, the flow of truly effective persuasive writing. You get a feel for what works.
Internalize the patterns.
Okay.
A fundamental principle of direct marketing that Halbert underscores. Market or product first.
Market first. Always prioritize identifying a hot, responsive market first, and then focus your efforts on developing or finding a product or service that directly meets the specific needs and desires of that market.
So don't start with a product idea in a vacuum.
He argues products are relatively common. Finding or inventing something isn't the hardest part, but finding a hungry market, a group of people already eager to buy something specific, that's the real key to success in direct marketing.
It's easier to sell something people already want.
Exactly. He points out that someone who has a brand new product idea might face a significant uphill battle trying to find or create a market for it. It's hard work.
But if you find the market first,
Conversely, someone who has diligently researched and identified a proven, eager market can almost always find or create a suitable product or service to offer them. The demand is already there.
find the hunger, then provide the food.
Yeah.
Okay? Another crucial differentiator he mentions between those who succeed and those who fall short.
A simple but powerful quality, awareness, just being aware.
Awareness of what?
He argues that many people go through life somewhat oblivious to their surroundings, just following the crowd, going with the flow. This makes them more vulnerable to missed opportunities and potential pitfalls. Like sheep, he implies.
Yeah, so you need to pay attention.
He stresses the need to be constantly alert, highly aware of your environment, and always ready to recognize and seize opportunities to catch a break when it presents itself. This is especially true in competitive environments like prison where he was, but also in business.
Don't be passive.
Right. He strongly advises against indulging in sulking, self-pity, or escapist fantasies when things get tough. Instead, he urges you to stay fully present and intensely focused on the realities of your situation and the potential for forward progress. See things as they are.
And he pushes back against the idea that success is just talent.
Absolutely. Countering the common misconception that success is solely the result of innate talent, Halbert reveals a primary driver behind his own claimed prowess as a copywriter.
Which is?
Relentless hard work and an unwavering attention to even the smallest details. He worked incredibly hard.
He shares an anecdote about this.
Yeah, a brief anecdote about an inmate, a bodybuilder, who is meticulously preparing for his parole hearing. He consciously changed his physical appearance, cut his hair, dressed differently, to project an image of responsibility. He was getting ready for the opportunity.
Preparing to succeed.
Halbert uses a compelling poker analogy, too. He explains that everyone in life and in business will eventually be dealt both good and bad hands. It's inevitable.
So, what determines winning?
What ultimately separates the winners from the losers is how they choose to play the cards they are dealt. This requires constant alertness, the ability to aggressively exploit favorable opportunities when they arise, and the discipline to quickly cut your losses when things aren't going your way.
Play your hand well, whatever it is.
And he circles back to that essential point: sweat the small stuff. Details matter.
Okay.
Yeah.
He then introduces a powerful concept for crafting compelling offers, giving people a reason.
Exactly. Always provide a logical reason or a believable excuse for why you are offering a special deal or proposition. This makes your offer feel more legitimate, more personal, and less like just a random discount out of the blue.
Can you give some examples he used?
He provides a range of practical examples. Offering a discount on a specific item because it was, say, used for publicity photos and is now in stock and happens to feature the customer's unique family crest.
Making it unique to them.
Offering a good price on a specific car trade-in because you just happen to already have a buyer lined up for that exact model. Offering a specialist, like a gynecologist he mentions, a special price on a relevant picture book because of their particular expertise and you value their opinion.
Appealing to their status or situation.
Offering artwork at a reduced price in exchange for a written opinion or testimonial. Or leveraging the credibility of a mutual friend by mentioning their recommendation in your opening. John Smith suggested I contact you.
These create a plausible reason for the offer.
Right. He shares even more compelling opening lines designed to create a natural excuse for your offer, like attaching a dollar bill to your letter, along with a specific logical reason why it's enclosed, to cover your time reading this, or mentioning the rarity or uniqueness of the customer's family name to personalize the connection right away.
Find an angle. Okay, self-awareness comes up again.
Yes, it's a critical skill. Halbert emphasizes the importance of recognizing when you are not performing at your best when you simply feel off.
How do you know when you're off?
He shares brief personal anecdotes of times when feeling slightly off led to minor mishaps, like tripping or spilling something, and a decreased ability to handle stress or challenges effectively. Lower resilience.
And this feeling gets communicated.
He explains that this feeling of being off is often communicated non-verbally through subtle cues in your posture, your tone, your energy levels. And this can make you more vulnerable to negative interactions or poor decision-making.
He connects this to HALT.
Yes, the acronym HALT. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired as potential underlying causes for feeling out of sync or off. Basic needs not being met.
What are some indicators you might be off?
He suggests some common indicators like experiencing slight clumsiness more than usual, misjudging the passage of time, or feeling unusually irritable or sensitive. Pay attention to those little signals.
And when you recognize these signs?
He emphasizes the need to consciously lay low, avoid unnecessary conflicts or making important decisions when you're in that state. Take the time to regroup, rest, eat, whatever you need to regain your equilibrium. Don't push through when you're genuinely vulnerable.
How does this relate directly to business?
He points out that people are often surprisingly adept at sensing weakness and vulnerability in others, just as they can sense strength, confidence, and potential for success. People pick up on these cues.
So you need to project strength.
He stresses the importance of actually being strong and capable, centered, not just trying to fake it. Authenticity matters. He shares his own personal decision to consistently maintain his running routine and fasting practices as a way to proactively regain physical strength and mental clarity whenever he feels himself slipping or getting off.
Use your routines to get back on track. Good advice. Now, in the realm of copywriting itself, what kind of language does he advocate?
Vivid, sensory-rich language that creates powerful mental images for the reader. Make it concrete, not abstract.
Can you give an example of the contrast?
He contrasts weak, abstract phrasing like dramatically increase your sales volume with more concrete and impactful language such as put a bushel of money in your mailbox. You can picture a bushel of money.
More visual, more emotional.
He encourages you to bring your story down to earth, connect with the fundamental desires and concerns of your audience. He urges you to hit them where they live, in their hearts and their pocketbooks, appeal to core emotions and self-interest.
Okay. Expanding on that strategy of providing a compelling excuse for a deal, he emphasizes making the customer feel.
Truly unique and valued. Special.
He provides that detailed example of the family crest letter again.
Yes, the highly successful direct mail letter offering a family crest wall plaque at a special price. The excuse. The specific plaque being offered was a sample used for publicity photos, couldn't be sold as new, and crucially could only be sold to someone with that exact last name. It felt incredibly personalized and like a unique opportunity.
And the results were huge.
The staggering success of this seemingly simple approach, generating a claimed $40 million in sales over time, powerfully illustrates the impact of making the customer feel special and understood. It wasn't just a generic offer.
He offers other examples of opening lines that do this.
Yes, several additional examples of effective opening lines that achieve this same goal, referencing their specific trade-in item, regarding your 78 Pinto, acknowledging their professional expertise as a leading chiropractor, appealing to their reputation as someone who recognizes true value, knowing your eye for quality, or mentioning a respected mutual connection, all ways to make it personal.
Make them feel seen. The final point in these early letters is Halbert's intention regarding his own behavior.
Yes, his intention to consciously focus on quietly de-escalating tense situations he encountered in prison and projecting a stronger sense of confidence in his daily interactions. This was a proactive way to avoid negative encounters.
How did he frame this?
He frames this not as a forced act or being someone he's not, but as a personal game for self-improvement, a way to practice and build greater resilience and control over his own state and interactions.
A personal challenge.
Okay.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the initial Boron letters, what are the main takeaways?
We've extracted some truly foundational principles. Halbert lays out the critical importance of prioritizing your health as the base, the power of strategic time management, focusing on Q2, the necessity of cultivating mental toughness and self-reliance.
And for business specifically.
The absolute key is understanding your market by observing actual behavior, what people do, not what they say. And then a wealth of specific persuasive communication techniques, particularly in the realm of direct mail, the A-pile, grabbers, AI to personalization.
The real value here is getting these insights directly from someone with such extensive, maybe extreme real-world experience.
Right, absolutely. He's sharing these hard-earned lessons learned under difficult circumstances in such a direct and personal way through these letters to his son. It feels very authentic.
And here's a final thought for you listening to chew on. How can you take just one of these seemingly straightforward yet incredibly powerful lessons and immediately apply it to your own life or your work? Where could you see a tangible improvement?
Perhaps it's committing to that positive addiction of daily exercise, even just walking. Maybe it's consciously identifying and scheduling those important but not urgent quadrant 2 activities. Or perhaps it's simply making a more deliberate effort, starting today, to observe what people do in your market, rather than just relying on what they say. Which one resonates most with you right now?
Lots to think about there. We encourage you to keep those insightful sources coming for future deep dive episodes.
Yes, please do. Keep sharing as you continue your journey of rapid and thorough knowledge acquisition.